little bit of emergency, right? 10 minutes before the start, the power in the village where I live turned off, and so I don't have electricity. I don't have Wi-Fi. I have nothing. So I need to plug in from my phone, which is a little bit unusual to do this kind of calls. But I think it's working just fine. So at least you can see me, you can hear me, and I'm hosting today's event. It's going to be a short session, so I believe we will do everything like in 20 to 30 minutes. I will be your host for remaining couple events on Wednesdays later this week, just because my partners are still extremely busy. So they asked me to host for this week, and later on, I believe you'll be able to see them again. So just to get started, technical updates from D.AI.SY side. Everything is on schedule, so I believe later this week we'll be able to go into testing. So this is pretty much it from my side on a technical side. So I would like to dive in directly into the product, because we got back Dr. Anna Becker with us, and she will share with us what's happening on the product side, because I know we have a lot of excitement in the field, because finally we see some nice profits. We can see that the market goes into right directions, into nice directions. And Dr. Anna, could you please specify on what's happening exactly with the D.AI.SY fund right now in the maybe in the recent days? I know you prepared something to share with us.
Yes. Actually, I always say to my team, first of all, hi everybody. I always say to my team not to be excited or happy when the market goes into our direction, because it's like a bad curse or something. So, but yes, we took the correct trades to enter the trends, and I will share the Ilya.
Yeah, can you share?
No, probably
You
yes.
should be able to share because you're
Now I should be able
co-host.
to share.
Yep.
Only host or panelist. Let me try
You cannot
again.
share?
No, I cannot share. So let me talk then. Same way I showed in a previous presentation on Friday, you see that we entered at the very beginning of the trend. We're still in. We didn't exit on the last drop down. The market corrected itself, and we entered with a swing trade, which was a bit before then all the trend started. So we're right on the mark there. Of course, we don't know how it will proceed. If it goes up, we will see the high profits. If it will go down, we will probably stop the trade or reverse. We expect some period right now of the stagnation, some short period of stagnation. So again, should keep in mind that we are on the long-term schedule. So it's really not about today. It's not about tomorrow. It's about the next 3 months. So, but we see right now 4% in our bottom line. You can enter your D.AI.SY front end and see it. We made a decision that over the next week and two, we will introduce more and more details of the fund performance. We will add percentages, profits. We will add elements of separate trades. So you will be able to see more the drill down into the performance. We are especially excited about D.AI.SY. D.AI.SY itself as a project that we're doing with artificial intelligence. It's actually what puts kind of the smile on my face daily, because we are doing what we always wanted to do. We're going into choosing the technology, the latest technologies, whether it's NVIDIA or parts of what type of service, AWS, or again, we're doing the full stretch of the decisions. We finalized the architecture, we finalized the details of each module, and the final analyst teams finalized its map. So we are going not even right on schedule, we're going very, very fast on launching the D.AI.SY first phase of the development. And what else? The VIP side of the application is ready. So again, whoever have 10 levels purchased can go to the VIP level, can start its own D.AI.SY Alpha, D.AI.SY Beta mini fund under their personal account. And that's probably it. A white paper comes along fine. Hopefully, again, Friday, we will be able to launch it.
You didn't leave me room for any questions, actually, because you touched everything I wanted to ask you. So yes, I mean, many people are very excited to see this daily fluctuations, actually, right? Especially when we are in a plus, right? So when we move, let's say, from 4% to 7%, or from 8% to 5%, something like this, it's very, very
listen,
interesting.
it's kind of a roller coaster. I think it's not that healthy to look at these curves, because we were in -7, now we were at +8, and everything is within a week. So the market is aggressive. We know that it can move within 1 month 60%. We will be with it. It can drop down 50% within 3-4 days. So again, it's very hard emotionally to be with these percentages. So you need to a little bit separate yourself from the results and wait patiently whatever happens within these 3 months and be there. Because again, we saw the changes between -7 and +8. And the goal is to be +30, +40, +50% after the end of 3 months. So let's get there. And that's
of course. I mean, we teach people about about this long-term vision all the time, right? So it's not a process of 1 day or 1 week. We understand this, but just because temporarily the D.AI.SY crowd section is disabled, right? So they cannot build. So D.AI.SY fund is something
that's why we want to add as much as possible the information about D.AI.SY fund. So at least you will be able to study and understand how the things work inside. And I hope it will bring additional, trust level to the community about how we do things. So it's our goal for the next weekend too.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much. So later this week, we will be waiting for release of long-awaited white paper, right? Is that correct?
I agree.
Yes. Many people, they look forward actually to reading this white paper. So although probably most of people, they will not understand what it is about, because it's going to be a little bit techy, right? But I know you told us that
techy, yes, we're putting the parts where it will be easy to read. So again, I hopefully that people will enjoy it.
Okay. Thank you very much. And then later on, probably we will translate this also from English into major languages, right? Because we have huge community in multiple markets. So we just start from English. Okay, Dr. Anna, thank you for your time. Thank you for thank you for your time. We appreciate it. So we'll move into next part. So I know you're very busy. So if you want to leave, it's okay for you. And the next part. I would like to introduce a couple gentlemen from UK and from Ireland. So these are very, very strong leaders. And the reason why we call this Zoom sessions leadership calls is because every day we want to invite 2 leaders from different teams, because all our business is based on strong leadership, right? So we are in leadership business. Without leaders, we would not be able to reach any targets, any goals. I mean, the whole business model is based on leadership, right? So this is why it's extremely important to hear to leaders to get some strong insights and wisdom, actually, right, from directly from them. So the first gentleman I'd like to invite is Avinash. So Avinash is a great leader who has been doing a lot of job for D.AI.SY community, giving presentations and teaching people about D.AI.SY business. Avinash, we really appreciate you. So I know that you coming from a traditional business background. I know you've been in network marketing for 5 years, and I know you've been in crypto industry for a very long time, specifically, right? So I believe your long crypto journey led you to D.AI.SY, where you are eventually, and I hope that you're happy to be with us. And please take it over from here. And please, I know you prepared some short speech about the mindset, right, in the industry. So how important to have how it is important to have right mindset for this kind of business. So Avinash, please take it over.
Thank you, Ilya, for the introduction, and welcome, everyone. Good morning from London, UK. Here, it's actually been snowing outside. It's cold, but it's all great. Look, I want to share a few things before we hand it over to another incredible leader who's got an amazing topic to cover. And by the time I hand it over, you'll understand why it's ultimately important that right now, anyone from your team who's not on the call yet, you get them on the team before this gentleman come on, because this gentleman is going to break down really how and what you should be doing during this period and how to capitalize on what's happening. And I've seen him do this before. He is incredible. So take it from me that you want to make sure you get your whole team on this call. Now, this brings me to something. Today, I want to talk to you as businessmen and businesswomen. I don't want to talk to you as network marketers. I want to talk to you as a CEO. But the meaning of CEO would depend on you. You are the CEO of your life. You're the CEO of your own business, of your D.AI.SY business. But here's something I want to ask you. What would we give right now to be among the first people, the first pioneers to be part of projects like Amazon, Facebook, Apple, Google, Microsoft? What I mean is, what would you give to have realized the power of those businesses at the early stage? But every single one of those, I can assure you, came with a challenge. Who wouldn't like to own shares in Amazon right now? Well, Amazon was founded in July 1994. Right, let's face it. In the early years of Amazon, you could buy shares for $1, just over $1. Today, it's over $3,300. Let me say this again. The shares of Amazon was available for just over $1. Today, it's over $3,300. Let's face it. We would be lying to ourselves if we said we wouldn't have liked to be part as a pioneer, to know of Amazon, to be part of Amazon, to invest in Amazon. Where's something for you? In July 1994, Amazon was founded. Great. Did you know that the first book Amazon ever sold was not until July 1995? 1 year and 6 days from the time Amazon was founded till the time the first book was sold. Here's my question to you. If you had the opportunity to be part of Amazon, would you be sitting there saying, oh my God, we haven't sold anything, and quit? Or would you have kept going? See, it's easy today to say you would have kept going. The question is, what would you have done back then? But you have an opportunity to change that. Whatever you would have done back then, you have realized that any pioneering stage comes with a certain challenge. Now, I say challenge. It's a challenge for some people. I said, I want to talk to you as a CEO. And there's two meanings of CEO. Right now, what's happening in D.AI.SY, some people see it as a challenge. These are the CEOs who are called Chief Excuse Officer. Chief Excuse Officer, because they're always looking for an excuse. Let me ask you this. The people who keep coming to you saying, oh, why we haven't launched it? When are we launching? Every single day. Oh, I think they're not going to launch. Oh, I saw this article. Oh, I saw this. That's because you've been giving excuses from the start. When there was a start date and then it was changed, oh, why is it delayed? When it launched on time, but the system wasn't fully ready, oh, why did we launch? Hold on a second. The previous thing you said was, why is it delayed? When it finally launched, you said, why did it launch? Why was it not delayed further? Well, which one do you want? You see, a Chief Excuse Officer always has an excuse for absolutely everything. They will always have an excuse ready They always have a problem for a solution. They always have problems for solution. Well, here's the people that's going to maximize the time, who's going to benefit the most. Why is it that DAISY is exactly the same opportunity as it is for me, for you here who we have on this call, for every other leader, as it is for you? Why is it that some people would come out of this making historical figures, will come out of this changing their life forever, whereas some people would do good, but maybe not as good, maybe not as good as they hoped they could have done? That's because they're focused on the problem instead of the solution. They're part of the problem instead of the solution. Well, the solution is quite simply this. Right now, you have more time. You have more time. And that's why I say get your team on this call, because the person who's going to come in next is going to explain to you exactly how to maximize from the time that you have. And I want to share a small story with you. You see, I have people right now who are so grateful, so thankful that we have delayed. But you got to remember, DAISY is the same DAISY it was when you made a decision to get started. That hasn't changed. Endotech is still the same Endotech. Dr. Anna Becker is still the same Dr. Anna Becker. The smart contract, the compensation plan is exactly the same. That hasn't changed. If anything has changed, it's in here. It's the perspective from which you're looking at the situation. I want to share this story, and I'm going to hand it to this gentleman because I can't wait to take notes. I can't wait to hear from this gentleman cover this topic. You see, on today is Monday morning, but I'm going to use a Sunday. On a fine Sunday morning, in a train, we used the underground tube in London, going towards central London. There was just a few people in, very, very quiet carriage, a few people. And a couple of the ladies were sitting down reading a book. A gentleman was there just scrolling through his phone. And the train reached the next station. And a gentleman came in with 3 kids, quite loud and noisy. And the gentleman straight away went to one corner. And the kids were running around, making noise. One of the kids was even hitting one of the women's bag. And everyone, suddenly the whole peace had gone that they had in that carriage in the train. And everyone was looking at this father thinking, what a bad father. He's not even paying attention to the kids being noisy, being loud all around, being messy. And in fact, he turned and saw one of the child hitting the lady's handbag, but didn't even say anything. To the point, one of the gentlemen got annoyed. He got up, he went and tapped the man on the shoulder. And he said, excuse me, I think you need to have a look at what your kids are doing. You are such an irresponsible parent for letting your child disturb everyone in this carriage. And as the gentleman turned around, he was crying. There was tears coming down his eyes. And everyone had agreed with this person who went up to him to stand up to him and say, hey, you need to look after your kids. Everyone in this carriage agreed. And then when they saw he was actually crying, everyone started doubting whether they were right, because now they're not sure what the situation is. And when he explained that moments before getting onto the train, he had just gotten news that his wife had been in an accident and died on the spot. Suddenly, everyone's perspective of what was happening, the situation that was happening, totally changed. Now, everyone was ready to empathize with the gentleman, with the children, because suddenly their behavior became understandable. The reason I share this story with you is you've got to choose what perspective you want to look at DAISY, what perspective you want to look at the extra time that you have, whether you want to be the chief excuse officer, or you want to be the chief example officer, leading by example, leading your team by example? Because here's the thing. Your team can only follow if you're leading. Your team can only follow if you're leading. So if you find out that your team are not doing what you want them to do, what you wish for them to do, is because you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You're not making the most of the time that DAISY allowed us. Like I said, I've got leaders who are so thankful and grateful for two reasons. One, I have a leader, Ilya knows this as well, that had their wallet hacked. And the extra time that we got allowed us to be able to take the necessary step to get their wallet back. And I can assure you, if DAISY had already relaunched, we would never have been able to do that. We have other leaders who are really grateful because they realize they can make the most of this time to go into the aspect of DAISY, which is the most powerful. If you really want to maximize from everything, you want to maximize your residual income in DAISY, well, you need to become part of the Pacesetter goal and the Pacesetter leadership. That is what the most important and strongest part of DAISY is. And for that, and that specifically, today we have a great leader, an incredible leader, who's going to bring to you exactly what to do and how to maximize your time to qualify for Pacesetter. And before we introduce this gentleman, I'm going to hand it back to Ilya so we can introduce this gentleman properly to you guys, and we will let him take this away. Have your notes ready. Make sure your whole team is on this call. If they miss it because of time zones, make sure they get a copy of the recording, because I'm telling you, this gentleman is going to bring the fire. So over to you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to your training. I can't wait to take notes. Ilya, thank you very much for the invite. It's always humbling. It's a pleasure. And I look forward to being on these calls more often. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Avinash. I think what you just shared is very, very important also, because the correct mindset and is something that everybody needs to think about. Yes. So everybody can choose between which CEO they want to become, right? So if they want to go after excuses or go after examples, actually become example and lead people. So this is extremely important. Thank you, Avinash. It was very inspiring. And the next lead I would like to invite today is Mr. Hugh Paul from Ireland. So this gentleman, actually, he's a legend in the industry. So whenever he starts to talk, everybody gets quiet. Everybody is listening, because he can teach you something that nobody else can teach. Mr. Hugh Paul, please take it over. And we are ready to listen to your training about the Pacesetters, right, today.
Yes, thank you very much, and it's a privilege to be on the call this morning to share with Dr. Anna and the great leaders in a fantastic session there by Dr. Anna was going to talk about the results that are available in your back office, and that's a very important component for our passive members. Passive in this industry, where people are expecting deep profits, that's not what we've got here. We've got real live trading. That's why it's very important, I believe, to probably try and focus on your income from the building the crowd side. If you can rely your lifestyle coming from the crowd side, then you can leave the wealth creation to come from the contribution side in the DAISY fund. So that's the way I'm positioning it, even though the passive side is amazing. And we've had examples of that already since Dr. Anna has started trading in the DAISY, for our new members to understand what they might be doing in the next few days. We soft launch this. There is a €100 contribution, 50% goes to the crowd. And maybe you're one of those $100 contributors. But if you can, in the meantime, put together the funds in Tron, ready for launch, into either the tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, right up to tier 7. If you can make that move right now, this is the timing you've been afforded to do that. And I'll tell you why in a moment. Because it's 50-50. 50 goes to the embedded trade account and the other 50 goes to the crowd side. The little black line on the screen, that's for the higher achievers. And that's down to, if you can go tier 8, 9, and 10, then these contributions move at 7 to the trading side, and 30%, of course, goes to the crowd. You can also see the share allocation, the equity allocation that you're going to get when this goes to the marketplace. So with her best intentions, with the right market conditions, it's Endotech's, I suppose, desire to take this to the market. And if those conditions are correct, we're looking at sometime probably towards the end of next year, but that will be dependent on the conditions. Of course, the equity is also a very important wealth creation, not just the trading, but the wealth creation provided, like Avinash talked about there, being an early adopter, an early pioneer in the likes of a Google or in the likes of an Amazon. Here, every $100 contribution gives you and your family one piece, one share in 5% of the equity. The other 5% in the equity is reserved for the Pacesetters, and that's what I'm talking about in a moment. Now, what I've done is I've actually captured the early trading rewards from tier 10 contributors. And you can see it's date stamped here, like back just 3 or 4 days ago. The amount for withdrawal here was $1,800 passively from the trading. So whilst you're waiting for the launch, Dr. Anna's not waiting. Dr. Anna's team's not waiting. The scientists, the software, the robots, the machines, the technology, the experience of 20 years is going in to those funds to do their best possible job. But please remember the ups and the downs. Don't watch this every day. It will play that emotional roller coaster in your head, and that's not good. Even without Daisy, if you look at the price of Bitcoin, when it hits 40,000, it drops to 37,000, it goes to 38,000. You're playing a mind game. It's up and it's down. That's the same for trading. So just play the long-term game on this. Now, that was very good for the 14th of February. And on the 15th of February, that passive rewards, let's call it passive trading rewards, from the Daisy crowd fund had grown over $700 overnight. And then the next day, it had grown up to $4,500 overnight. For a passive contributor, a tier 10 contributor got these rewards. And that's why you might think in this time, this waiting time, is you develop as much as you can for that contribution. If you're tier 4, please try and upgrade tier 5. If you're tier 7, best to upgrade to tier 8. And of course, if you can go tier 9 to tier 10. Now, once you do tier 10, you will notice office, you'll be able to see that there's now that VIP opportunity. And ladies and gentlemen, when you think about this, this gives you the ability to get the benefit from institutional trading. You see, normally you would probably need somewhere in the region of $1 million to enter that marketplace. It's reserved for the rich. It's reserved for the elites. It's reserved for the banking industry. It's reserved for the institutions. That's who gets to participate in those markets. But here, you and I, ordinary families around the world, can change their circumstances based on their contribution. And even if it's only $100 or $200 or $400, over time you can upgrade. And hopefully at that point, the VIP opportunity is still available. It may not always be available. But right now, tier 10 contributors can go VIP. What does that mean? It means, ladies and gentlemen, that Dr. Anna Becker will integrate through an API, a little piece of technology, will go straight to your Binance or to your exchange, and she will trade there directly. 100% amazing opportunity in itself. So really what I want to talk about in this session is number 2, let's focus on the Pacesetter bonuses. There are three parts to the Pacesetter. The first part is this. Depending on how you qualify in your first 30 days, the software will pick up that position. I'll give you an example. Let's say after 30 days, you had made 3 personal referrals, just 3, and the contributions from 3 or more was $1,000. The software would recognize that, and it would open up the by the same token, after 30 days, if you have, say, 21 referrals made, and the total contribution of those 21 referrals was $64,000, the software would automatically open the 10th generation, meaning you had the ability to receive 4% of 59,049 contributions from somewhere in the world. That's what it does. It opens up the commissions available on the next generation. Whatever you do in 30 days, you pace for your business. So that's very, very important. The next part of the Pacesetter bonus is this. It's for the high achievers. And every single, being a high achiever is nothing more than a decision. I'm going gold Pacesetter. I'm going leadership Pacesetter. It's simply a decision because the mechanics and the mathematics are the same for everyone. For Avanish, for Ilya, for Jeremy, for everybody, Edward, everybody in the community, the mathematics is the same. 24 directs, not 23, not 12, 24 or more directs with a total contribution of $128,000 in tier contributions. That qualifies you for the gold Pacesetter, and you must do it in your first 30 days. Now, that's what Avanish was talking about. You have a period of time now to prepare that team contact. And you should be working every day and possibly every spare hour of every day to achieve that. And that's what a lot of the early adopters did when we pre-launched the system. The people that achieved that, they weren't lucky. People will say the story, you were lucky. You did that because you were in first. No. Everybody on this call is in first. Everybody listening to this recording is in first. In fact, everybody this year, 2021, is in first. It's not anything to do with when you join. It's all to do with what you do when you join. Okay, so it's not when you join, it's what you do when you join. And if you're hearing this right now and you're going to make a decision to get started, fantastic. You can do this. If you've been in for this last 3 weeks and you haven't taken the action to achieve this, you have plenty of time even before we launch this and through those first 30 days to achieve this. And if you do this 24 personal directs, dollars of contribution, you share in what I call the global spillover. Spillover, ladies and gentlemen, is a myth. Spillover is something that you should achieve. But if you want to achieve what I call global spillover from every contribution on the planet, imagine this. Imagine getting Amazon stock in 1994. And imagine getting a share of every order that every Amazon customer made since then. Because that's the opportunity. Pacesetter gives you a slice, gives your family a piece of every contribution worldwide. Upline, downline, sideline, crossline, doesn't matter who. Every single contribution hits your wallet. Because the software, and one of the reasons for the delay was the software, the calculation of this very exciting bonus was timing out. It had to run through all the data. It had to check every qualifier. It had to take every contribution and assign 1.8% of that contribution to the qualifiers. And now that's been corrected. And now that's going to test as we go to roll this up again. Now, for these pace setters, these what we call the gold pace setters, you just don't get that. Amazing. You also share in the other 5% equities given by Endotech. Everybody that contributes, the other 5%, ladies and gentlemen, that's reserved for the gold pay setters. That, can you imagine on every withdrawal from the Endotech side, from the D.AI.SY fund, that generates another commission for you and your family. And that's an equal share in 1.25% of the withdrawals. It's amazing. The next part of the pay setter is what we call our leadership bonus. And that's quite simple as well. Whether or not you achieve what I've just said, provided you can refer 3 people out of your entire community, 3 people, then you jump into this bonus. So you can miss the first one and then catch this one, or you can collect the first one and catch this one as well. So if I was talking to a friend, a neighbor, somebody on the street, maybe somebody across Zoom, if you don't have the PowerPoint skills, if you don't have the documentation, how would you represent this message to someone on Zoom? I use what's called a flip chart. Very, very simple piece of apparatus. If you want to get one, they're not expensive. And if you can write on a piece of paper, this can be illustrated quite easy. And what I do is I go back, it's a bit like Avanish talking about the Amazon stock way back in 1994. Well, way back in January 2021, there was an opportunity, an opportunity called D.AI.SY. And in its very early days of adoption, it generated in contributions in around $20 million in the first few opening hours, maybe the first day. In the first 3 to 5 days, the total contributions was 50 million, but in that first day, that first get-go day, there was approximately $20 million of crowdfunding contributions put towards the D.AI.SY crowd. Now, we know the 2 Pacesetter bonuses. We've got the gold Pacesetter bonus, and we've got the leadership Pacesetter bonus. I've just spoken about those in slide presentation. But what about the people that want to learn how to scribble? How do you explain it? Well, it's very, very simple. We know that 1.8% of the total contributions are assigned to the gold pacer. And we also know that 1.8% of the total contributions are assigned to the leadership Pacesetter. If you do the math, 1.8% of the total revenue in that period of time, it was $360,000. So that means the pool contributions, the pool rewards is $360,000 in each of the 2 pools. Now this decision lies with you. Which of the 2 pools, or maybe both of the 2 pools, would you like to benefit from? You see, that's not Dr. Anna Becker's decision. That's not Jeremy Roma's decision. That's not Ilya's decision. It's your decision. Which or both of these 2 would you like to enjoy the benefit from? Let's calculate the benefit. We know that there's approximately 120 Pacesetters in the whole world, okay? So it's for high achievers. And you can be a high achiever. But in the first day, there wasn't 120. There was in or around 80 people that qualified Pacesetter. We know that there was about 6 people did the leadership side. So let's work out the maths. Let's see, is the effort worth the reward? What effort will you put in these coming days before we launch? Let's check the effort. 80 into $360,000, because that's what's available, paid the gold Pacesetters in or around $4,500 in day 1. Not a bad payday. Not a bad payday. But I want you to understand, even though it occurred in one day, it wasn't achieved. It took maybe a whole week of people's effort to put the business in place. Because we know we need 24 directs and $128,000 of contributions. That's the effort. The reward was $4,500 in day one. Now, of course, an additional 30 million came in contributions. So you can imagine what the Pacesetters were getting on every single contribution. Just think about that. And for the life of Daisy, there's the expression, imagine every contribution worldwide hits your wallet. It hits your wallet. Why? Because you rolled up your sleeves, because you set the family aside part-time to apply your efforts, your greatest effort to achieve this bonus, and you got the prize. That's the prize, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what about this side of the equation? The leadership bonus. Well, there was only about 6 people did it. That tells you how special these people are. 6 into 360 give these guys a reward of somewhere in or around $60,000 in day one. $60,000. Why? Because there's less people going to do this that are going to do that. Because the effort is this. It's not about your personal effort anymore. It's about your leadership. It's about your mindset. It's about who can you help. If you can help enough people achieve what they want, of course you're going to get what you want. So if you want to get into the leadership bonus, all you need to do is find 3 people that are willing to go to work and do that. You help 3 people do this, you get that reward. Now, if that's not enough, and that's plenty, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think about one last thing. The other part of the qualification gives you a share in 1.25% of the withdrawals. 1.25% of the withdrawals. Well, we know if 20 million comes in, can you imagine what Dr. Anna Becker is going to do with that? Can you imagine how she's going to improve that? She's going to turn that 20,000 to 40,000, maybe 20 million to 40 million, 40 million to 80 million. If the technology, if the AI, if the robots and the machines could do their job on the markets, well, the 1.25% is going to be a much bigger reward than the 1.8%, because this number is going to be much, much bigger on the exit. Because as people withdraw their profits, you also share in 1.25%. And if that's not enough, what about a share in an additional 5% of Endotech's equity? That's the proposition. That's the effort. That's the reward. It's up to you. I hope you find that beneficial. I hope you employ it in your strategies in the weeks ahead. I hope you enjoy the benefits from this illustration, and I hope it changes your family's life. Thank you very much. Back to you, Ilya.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think this was probably the best presentation on the Pacesetters. Thank you for your patience. And yes, I mean, I think you explained it like everything very clean in a very clean message. So the way it works, all the bonuses, amount of money that can be made not only in the front end but on the back end, because this was done by design. And I know that the true leaders and networkers, everybody is looking for residual income, not one-time bonus, but the bonuses that will pay once, again and again and again and again. So this is very, very important for everybody to understand. Thanks for your time. Thank you for your presentation. So thank you, Avinash, also for your presentation. I appreciate you guys. So because today, I mean, we wanted to make it a little bit shorter, so obviously it took long. When we listen to leaders, you know, time goes very, very fast. So I believe next calls this week also may take more than half an hour as we planned. So thank you guys for your time, and please come back to us on Wednesday, same time, 8 a.m. UTC. And Friday, we will also have one more session. So we try to make more sessions for you guys, just to keep you busy, to keep you updated, because many people, they just ask us, please provide us some content, please come up and tell us something, because I know how it is just to not get updated in this situation, right? When we unfortunately are not able to actually build as of today, right? But again, it takes probably extra 1 week or maybe 10 days. And in the end of the day, we will launch, and then you guys probably will remember the story that was shared by Avinash about Amazon, about Google. So we believe that we're building together with leaders, together with everybody, we building legacy here. And building legacy is not so easy. It always takes a lot of efforts. It always takes a lot of time. And what's important to understand is nothing has been changed. Just like Avinash said, the pipeline is the same. Dr. Anna is the same. AI is working just exactly the same way it was supposed to work from the beginning. So everything is the same. We're just waiting for reopening the doors for you guys, and it's a matter of actually a few more days, not to say 1-2 weeks. So I don't want to commit into any dates. So we might have a technical update later on also this week. So we will see. Maybe Mr. Alexei, who was already on our previous call, so maybe he will be able to share some technical updates with you guys as well. Thank you very much for your time today. So see you on a Wednesday, and have a nice day or evening, depending on where you are. Bye-bye.